We have used this create host builder method, but still it is not a complete web application. So to convert it into a complete web application, we need to add configure web host defaults that will provide the support for HTTP. So we need to add this method and that will support these following key points. That will provide support for HTTP, and it uses Kestrel as a web server and configure it using the application configuration provider. And it also enable your IIS integration, and we can add the host filtering in the middleware. So let's see into the picture. In this, we have to add method configure web host default, and in this we are going to provide the support of startup class. Here we will add the support of startup class, and now web host dot use startup. This use startup method is available in this namespace. We can see in Microsoft.asp netcode.hosting. So we will get the namespace from here. Just formatting it. I am use startup. Now for providing support of startup class, we are going to add one simple class in this application. So let's go back to this application and let's add a simple class on the root. I am simply adding a one startup class. Let's name it startup. Let's add it in the application. Here is our startup class. In this class we don't have to do nothing. We are going to simply use this startup class in our code over here. That's it, and save the changes. Saving the changes, and let's write a return keyword over here, as this method is going to return. And now we can call this method create host builder method in our main method. So I'm going to delete this line, we don't need it, and just copy paste, and I'm calling this method in our main method. Let me tell you one more thing. While working with this create host builder method, we need to first of all build it, and then we need to run it. So let's call it. So on this method, first of all we will build. So let's call the build method, and then we need to run it. So now we are calling our run method. Save the changes. Let's suppose in future we want to change the name of this method create host builder. Let's say any xyz method name, right? So is it possible? Yes, when we are working with the basic web application, then it is possible, then we will not face any kind of challenges. But when we are working with the entity framework core application, in that case this method is must. So in that case this method is must. We need to provide all the default configuration with this method in the case of entity framework core application, when we are going to work with that. And we can see we are passing all the arguments in the main method over here. So we can pass these arguments in the create host builder method also. So let's see. So I'm just copying this argument and pasting it in our this create host builder method definition, and let's pass this argument over here also in this method, and we need to pass it at the time of calling of this method, right? So let's save the changes. And if we want to check the detail of this method, configure web host default, so let's go to its definition and we can check the definition of this method that is going. It's trying to navigate to that definition. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. We can see this method is available in this static class generic host builder extension, and let's expand its summary and what it is going to perform. It uses Custard as a web server, and it basically add the host filtering middleware. It also adds the forward header middleware if ASP.NET Core forward header enabled is true, and it enable the IIS integration. All these are the basically we can say this method is going to perform that we have discussed in our slides, right? All the same points. So let's go back to our program, save the changes, and now we can say that this is the exact code that we are having in our default templates web API. Now let's minimize the code more. What we can do, we can remove this return keyword. So let's remove it, and we can write this lambda expression. Let's remove the curly brackets, save the changes. Now at this point of time, uh, we are done with our changes, and now we are going to add some changes in our startup class in our next video.